nervous enough at first, so now I'm even worse off, okay? So I just want to give thanks to God, first of all, honor to Bishop and Lady Willis, Pastor Garland, Lady Farida, First Lady Farida, elders and pastors here tonight, and my beautiful wife, who unfortunately can't be here, going through some health challenges, but God is able, okay? Let me first say the leadership team here at Lighthouse, starting with Bishop Dan, has done a phenomenal job with these young people. I don't know why y'all have me up here, because you got 100 young people that could do better than I can do. So I'm in awe this past Wednesday. In fact, I didn't even feel worthy to stand here tonight. I was listening to the anointed word that went forth on Wednesday. Whenever our young people are ministering, Cheyenne, you mentioned about neutropenia with your son. I know about that because my wife is experiencing some of that. Charlie and Daniel talked about Job, which is part of my message tonight. Big Mike talked about the Hebrew boys. It's also part of my message tonight. So, again, y'all didn't need me. You could have just let them go ahead and just finish preaching. But anyway, I want to say to the young people, job well done. I came out here tonight and I see young people are doing it all. They are doing all of it and doing an excellent job. This is the year of elevation. Along that line, we have to not look for elevation only in status, but elevate our knowledge, wisdom, and faith. So we're not looking for elevation in terms of a title or whatever, but our knowledge, our faith. All right, here we go. All right. First slide, if you would. There it is. Job, King James Version. And the Lord turned the captivity of Job when he prayed for his friend. He did something. Also, the Lord gave Job twice as much as he had before. He got double for his trouble. His wife had told him, Job, you should go ahead and cuss God and die. And that gives me a chance because I like to do marriage ministry. Young folks, because a lot of y'all here tonight, be careful who you marry. Be careful who you marry, because Job could have missed his blessing because of his spouse. Okay? So, go ahead and turn that song up for me. I stopped by tonight just to tell you.
A miracle.
We want to talk about miracles. Just know it ain't over until God says it's over. You don't get to determine when it's over. You don't get to determine that. It's over when God says it's over. So I just want to let you know that tonight. If you can put that young lady's picture on the screen and just bring it down a little bit for me. Slide number 3. I want you all to take your camera, take a picture of this, write it down or whatever, because the song is playing right now. I want you to be able to go back and pull this back up because it will minister to you, okay? Bishop often says it's often a song that will help you get through rather than a sermon. Well, since y'all getting a weak sermon tonight, y'all gonna need a good song to get you through, okay? By the time you get to your car, you will have forgotten what I said, but this song will continue to minister to you. Now, next graphic, please. Why did I use this graphic with the hare and the tortoise on there? Because the rabbit taunted the turtle because he was so slow. The turtle challenged him to a race. That don't make any sense to us. I'm a turtle and you a rabbit, and I'm gonna say, come on, let's race. But we have to be confident like the turtle that we may slowly get to the finish, but we know we will win. The rabbit rested. He laid down. I can beat this dude, okay? And while he was laying there, the turtle kept pressing. And he pressed right past him, and he ran the race, and he won it. The enemy thinks that he is going to outrun us, but we got to keep pressing, okay? Now, next slide, swift and the strong. Ecclesiastes 9:11. It says, I returned and saw under the sun that the race is not given to the swift, nor the battle to the strong. Matthew 24:13. But he that endure, you can't quit. He that endure until the end shall be saved. We know that God is omnipotent, meaning he's all powerful. He's omniscient, means he knows all. And he's omnipresent, meaning present everywhere at all times. Because of his omni nature, we can wrap it all up together. He is sovereign. In other words, next one, please. There it is right there. Psalms 115:3, our God is in heaven. He does whatever pleases him. Wow. Some folks might think that's an arrogant statement. It's not. He can do what he wants, when he wants, and how he wants to because he is God. Not arrogantly, because he doesn't need our approval. Somebody said, God is my co-pilot. No, he's not. He's your pilot. He is not taking second fiddle to you. He is sovereign. When you created something or you own something, you have the right to do with it as you please. If I want to drive my car here every Sunday dirty, don't tell me I can't drive my car here dirty. It's mine. And so it's sovereign. It belongs to me. We are God's. He's sovereign. So he gets to do what he wants, when he wants, and how he wants. Like Job, be careful, don't get taken to task by God. Job had done a pretty good job, but at one point he decided to kind of question God a little bit. Don't want to do that. He asked Job, he said, wait a minute, Job, where was thou when I laid the foundation of the earth? No answer. Declare if thou hast understanding. If you know the answer, tell me. Who hath laid the measure thereof, if thou knowest, or who hath stretched the line upon it? Job couldn't answer that. So don't get taken to task by God by start asking him questions. Well, why'd you do this and why'd you do that? He's sovereign. He gets to do what he wants, when he wants, and looks for no approval from us. When you pray for something, our sovereign God says, and young folks, they got all up in my Kool-Aid with this. He says yes, no, or what did you say, Aaliyah? Or wait. Those are his three answers. And so sometimes we're in a waiting game. We get tired. We don't feel like continuing to wait. But he says, wait on the Lord. And so when you pray for something, our sovereign God says yes, no, or wait. A new house. Yes, no, wait. A new job. Yes, no, or wait. And then finally, healing. Yes, no, or wait. For the sake of time, let's just deal with healing and sickness. Healing can take place on this side or in eternity. We generally think in terms of healing as having to be right here. Lord, I prayed, do it. Do it right now, Lord. He said, I'm sovereign. I may do it here, but I may do it on the other side. And so, personally, my mother passed at the age of 46. I was 23 years old. I prayed the Lord would heal her, but she passed. And at that point, my wife was pregnant with our first child. She never saw our children. Okay? Ooh, that don't sound fair. Don't you dare question God, because he's sovereign. Did he heal her? Yes, he did. She had been sick for a long time. And if you called her up right now and said, Lorraine O's, would you come on back? She's going to say, are you crazy? But you got some cute grandchildren. One of them, I don't know about her, but don't you want to come back and see them? Nope, I love y'all, but And so Isaiah 55:8 says, for my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, saith the Lord. For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways. My stuff is higher than yours. Stop trying to put yourself on the same level as he is. You'll never get there. 2 Corinthians 5:8, we are confident, I say, and willing rather to be absent from the body than to be present with the Lord. Okay? I thought we didn't want to die. Philippians, for to me to live is Christ and to die is gain. There is gain in dying. We all want to stay here, true enough. O death, 1 Corinthians 15 and 55, O death, where is thy sting? Where is thy victory? Death has no victory. Now, we like to keep people here. We love them. We enjoy their company. But at some point, let me ask you a question. Everybody's going to die, aren't they? So we've got to trust the sovereign God when he says it's time for that to happen, okay? So our sovereign God decides when it's over, so change your prayer. Change your prayer. I'm praying for healing, but more importantly, I'm praying God's will be done. When my mother left here, I wanted her to stay. But as I matured and I grew, I found out, don't just pray for healing, pray God's will be done, because he's going to heal them, but it may not be the way that you want it done, okay? Bishop has taught the pastors and elders continue to pray for healing, whether it be on this side or the other side, because the sovereign God has the final say. If you pray and unfortunately he calls them home, God heard your prayer. It didn't fall on deaf ears, but he exercised his sovereignty, okay? Bishop says go right back to the hospital and pray for the next saint. You don't stop praying, oh, I prayed and they still left here. So what? Go back and pray again. What I'm about to say may surprise you, but we all have a date with death. That's reality, okay? That's not morbid, that's reality. Okay, if I can have the next one, please, Isaiah. In the year that Isaiah 6:1, in the year that King Uzziah died, I saw also the Lord sitting upon a throne high and lifted up with his train filling the temple. Sometimes we can't see that it's not over. It's not over until God says it's over. And that God is working on our behalf. What they said earlier, wait. So he's going to do it. Because our focus is on something or someone else, Isaiah had his focus on Uzziah. And so there was nothing wrong with loving him or whatever, but Uzziah was keeping him from seeing the Lord. So in the year that he died, all that time, he saw the Lord. Now, he may have known him, but he saw him for real at that point because Uzziah was keeping him from getting there, okay? Sometimes we can't see that it's not over because of that reason. Isaiah didn't have a clear view of God because of his respect and admiration for Uzziah. Just like with Isaiah, sometimes someone or something has to die before our relationship with God can be what it needs to be. Sometimes it's you. Yourself has to die before you can have a true relationship with God. So sometimes something has to move in order for that to happen. But it ain't over till God says it's over. If you would, please play that video for me. It's about a 1-minute video, and then I'll have a couple of words after that.
This young woman's determination to stay alive is nothing short of a miracle. Moments before 22-year-old Sam Hemming was to be taken off life support, she wiggled her big toe. Sam was placed in a chemically induced coma after suffering from severe head injuries when her car flipped over. The 22-year-old law graduate was airlifted to a local hospital where surgeons operated on her for several hours. Her parents say that doctors urged them to remove Sam from life support since she was confirmed brain dead with no signs of recovery. But Sam wasn't going to let her life end there and show doctors that she was still alive. Sam was then able to breathe without the support of the machine, and weeks later, she was sent home and is beginning to recover. This just shows that sometimes in moments of difficulty, miracles can happen.
Don't you dare. Don't you dare. Don't pull my plug, okay? Because God said it ain't over till I say it's over. And so, now, thank you. I'm not going to tell you what to do. If you feel that, no, don't leave me there in a vegetable state, that's fine. But for me, don't pull my plug. Because that young lady wiggled her toe and she got back up. So if you don't want to come see me at the hospital, that's okay. I ain't mad at you. But let me lay there. Leave me alone. As long as the insurance is paying, don't pull my plug. Okay? Because it ain't over till God says it's over. Okay? So there's a Lighthouse member that I won't mention by name has been dealing with an illness that looked terminal, but they are recovering. Why? because it ain't over until God says it's over. John 11 tells us the story of Lazarus. He was dead, okay? But Jesus said, wait a minute, it ain't over till I say it's over. Now, I don't know if you all, I got a lot of Bible scholars here. Do you realize there are professional mourners in the Bible? So in other words, as soon as somebody died, call the mourners, give them $5. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord, Lazarus, can you come back? Please, Lazarus, come back. They don't even know Lazarus, but they professional mourners. And so Jesus had to get rid of them before he could do his work, because they're going to sit up there crying and they're going to lose the blessing of seeing Lazarus come back. Now, Burr Oak Cemetery is out there. Jesus said, Lazarus, come forth. He called him by name. Because if he had just said, come forth, just like over at Burr Oak, when y'all walk out of here tonight, if Jesus is over there and just said, come forth, it's going to be graves busting open. Everybody going to be trying to get up. So, but what he had to do was he had to show it ain't over until God says it's over. 1 Kings 17, Elijah, the widow said, I'm going to make me and my son a cake and we going to die. Wait a minute, how did you get to determine that? God said it ain't over. He sent the prophet that said, make you all a cake, but then make me one too. It wasn't over because God hadn't said it was over. Here's a story that I love to talk about. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. They had said, I will not bow down to the king in the graven image. And he said, okay, if you won't, we're going to burn you. Now, Adam was honest a few minutes ago. They heated the fire 7 times hotter than it had ever been. And the people who were ministering to the fire, they stepped to the gate. They died. It was so hot. Now, I'm just going to tell y'all. Y'all can say he ain't got enough faith. When that fire started licking out, I would have said, where's the image at? But here's what I would have did. I would have had my fingers crossed behind my back. Because you know when your fingers are crossed behind your back, then it don't count. But if I saw that fire, I would have had to say, where's the image at? Okay, I ain't quite that strong, but I would have had that working for me, okay? And so they were not careful to answer. So what wound up happening? They wound up getting Nebuchadnezzar to believe in their God, okay? If you would, go ahead and play that song again for me real low. And we're going to put that picture on the screen again. It ain't over till God says it's over. As I get ready to close, sickness, it ain't over till God says it's over. Stage 4 cancer can't defeat a stage 1 God. Marriage, it doesn't matter that he or she left and has been gone for 10 years. It ain't over till God says it's over, okay? Because a stage 1 God can overcome that, can bring them back 100 times better than they were before they left. Job and provision, I prefer provision as opposed to a job. So what? They fired you. You don't need just a job, you need provision. Philippians 4:19, but my God shall supply all your need, N-E-E-D, not N-E-D-S, according to his riches and glory by Christ Jesus. Notice the scripture says need singular, not plural, which singularly is Jesus Christ. Children, the father of the prodigal son, it ain't over till God says it's over. The father of the prodigal son knew it wasn't over until God said it was over. So he waited patiently until his son came to himself. Some of y'all waiting for him to come to themselves. Addiction, it ain't over till God says it's over. Crack, heroin, nicotine, alcohol, food, sex are not more powerful than the addictive love that B.B. and C.C. Winans sang about years ago. Housing, renting, owning, it ain't over till God says it's over. Tyler Perry and Steve Harvey. Steve Harvey's father told him to keep the faith and believe in himself no matter what. Why? Because he knew it wasn't over. Steve flunked out of college, got fired from several jobs and became homeless. Steve Harvey was on his own at 27, living in his car for 3 years. Tyler Perry, billionaire Tyler Perry, is so sweet on the other side of pain, he said, as he reflected on his 1996 homeless months of living out of his car. It ain't over till God says it's over. God is no respecter of person. If he did that for them, what makes you think he won't do it for you? What we have to do is know that it's either yes, no, or wait. And if it's wait, that's okay. So, God's got a place for you on the other side, but he's got a place for you here also. He makes the final decision, not you. It's not over until God says it's over. God bless you.